Let's go! Welcome to the show. It's Project Open Mic. Let's get the show off right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here with me, cause it's Project Open Mic. Let's have a good show tonight. Let's get a topic straight. Let's get things good. Let's do everything that we should. It's Project Open Mic. Let's get the show off right. Let's open our minds and take out our style. Let's see what's going on in the world tonight. It's Project Open Mic. Let's have a good show tonight. It's Project Open Mic. Let's get the show off right. It's Project Open Mic. Let's have a good show tonight. It's Project Open Mic. Let's get the show off right. It's Project Open Mic. Let's have a good show tonight. It's Project Open Mic. Let's get the show off right. Alright, what's going on, guys? This is your boy Tego, Project Open Mic, with another show again. Hope you all are doing well. Basically, I have a very special guest on with me tonight. We have a special topic to talk about, so it's best to have this person on here. So I would love to introduce. This is basically the first time on the show. I always talk about it, but introducing the honor as an official capacity.
I've been on your show.
Yeah, but in official capacity and not as my wife.
Oh, well, definitely not. Not as your wife.
Yes. So tonight's show is that special because I have my wife with me, Asa. We're gonna talk about tonight's basically the show is about the budlight. Has it shown us the light? Has it finally shown us the light that we need to waken up from this slumber of letting the evil take over our worlds?
The first thing I thought of was the whole woke, even though I know you weren't even thinking of that with the title, but I guess it's still kind of.
Well,
have we awoken from budlight?
By the light, by the blue light. Well, we're black, so blue light ain't good for us. You see the cops. I'm joking. I'm joking.
So nerdy.
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Anyway, yes. So tonight's gonna be we're gonna jump into some stuff. We started it earlier than usual again.
Yes.
Because I want her, because I'm more the night owl. She's the more the waker up.
I'm a little fussy with him because I'm like, look, sir, you got to get up in a few hours and go to work. And yes, I'm a lightweight at night. I do not stay up very late. I've been joked on many times by friends and family for always being that one who can barely keep her eyes open past like 9 or 10 o'clock. So
yes, so it's good to have you on the show. Like I said, tonight's show we're gonna be talking about we'll be talking about a lot of stuff, as you can look in the description box. Again, remember, anybody out there, the usual spot, you guys know you can catch us at the usual stuff. The links are in the description. If you any place in the description, so Tempo FM, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, ULive. Those are all places you catch us on. If you want to catch us on a later spin back, you catch us on Stitcher, Anchor, and of course Spotify. Project Open Mic. Yeah, we explain more, and we're doing more stuff. To hopefully, again, I need to do this. This is on me to put us on the Apple platform so we can get on there as well too, so you guys can have that. But again, if you I always say this, but I know people don't do it. But anyway, just in case, go to YouTube. You can subscribe there if you want to get most of the backlog. That and Spotify has more of the backlog. Temper FM, of course, have a backlog, but the problem is they're temporary because Temper FM is a radio show that does video and it takes them off. But again, I want to thank y'all for joining us tonight. Hope you all are having a great night. And tonight's topic is very multi-layered because we're going to be talking about, like I said, the budlight, the Dylan Mulvaney stuff. We're also going to be talking about be talking about the a little bit of NPR on Twitter, a little bit about that because that's interesting. As you can see how the cracks are breaking between some of the crazy stuff. We're gonna have a little bit talking about the since Dylan Mulvaney is talking about the whole trans thing, whatever, and stuff. We'll be talking about that a little bit. And last but not least, we're going to talk about as one of the most popular magazines at the time, and it still is to this day to a degree.
To a degree,
Yeah,
but definitely,
yeah,
very influential.
So we're gonna talk about Cosmopolitan, and we're gonna talk about one of the head editors used to work there, and her life. And I like her story is pretty unique, and I like it. And I have a special clip from another interview that she has, as my wife heard it, and we're gonna play it so you guys can see it. So that's what we're gonna be doing tonight. So tonight now, let's jump. Like I said, we're gonna jump into. Let me see here before I put it on the screen. I think we start off light and get into the budlight stuff. No pun intended, of course. And then get into the whole because I want to put them together, the whole trans thing, whatever. And again, and for purpose reason, again, I do not care, and I would think my wife doesn't. We are not against it. We're Christian people, but we don't care. You do your life. I'm a libertarian. I'm just like you do your life, but I do not like how we put this stuff in front of kids.
That is very much a issue, and I think a lot of people in general, not just Christians, but people who are
true
conservative when it comes to thinking about the well-being of their children, are passionate about that. And then too, something that you have pointed out to me that I'm gonna say, aside from my views on what I think of changing one's gender or attempting to change one's gender, that is a very, very, very small margin of people.
Yeah, it is.
But yet the microphone in the media outlet has, like you said, just erupted. And so they're making it more louder, thinking it is representing a larger group of people that it is. And that's part of my issue too, is aside from my own personal beliefs and opinions about it, it's the fact that they are canceling people and pushing that way of life to be represented in so many different shows and movies and commercials where it literally only represents a small margin of people. And so it's like, well, if this is a small margin of people who actually go through this process, why is it in so many different things? Why is it just kind of like infiltrated into so many different things? So that too is an issue for me. And when you see that, I heard someone on another podcast, it's a very good podcast, by the way, say that you have a small group, in that small group of people who are basically, it's a mental issue, you know, to go through changing the gender that you were born with. Because when in doing that, that's a lifelong journey of having to take hormones and go through invasive and dangerous procedures to maintain that. So there's definitely a mental breakdown to that. Mental illness is real. Nobody's making light of that. So within that small group of people, you got a portion of people who are dealing with some mental illness, and then within that group, there are some people who have just been influenced, and brainwashed, even, and manipulated.
That's what the Cosmopolitan showed.
So that's why I have an issue. Why it's just so heavily in everything, and taken as being this kind of like, if you don't accept it, you're canceled. If you know, they've got athletes who, if they don't have a flag on their uniform or what have you, that they're trying to seat them on the bench. Like, the fact that they're making it that like a law, like you either gonna go for it or not, that's an issue. And I think that's why there are a lot of Americans, a lot of people, not just Americans, there are a lot of people
That's true.
who have an issue with that, how they're trying to enforce it and jam it down people's throats. Because mind you, yeah, there are some people who um are, they may subject hatredness and ill will towards anybody,
Mm-hmm.
including people who are transgender. But nonetheless, in this day and age, I think you're just dealing with them actually bullying people to be okay with it more than anything. I don't think that they're so much in fear for them, their lives, more so than they want you to be in fear of being canceled if you don't go with it. And that's what I don't like.
That's true. And like I said, and you'll see when I talk about this. Like for me, it's like again, I have no problem with Dylan Mulvaney per se. He has because I
Well,
think
there's a
it's I
problem.
think there's I think it's on the like the Hollywood and the big corporations stuff. Like I said, you'll see what we talk about today about that. I mean, tonight about all this stuff. So, but like I said, mine's just not against him. He could do whatever they want to do, and but I don't because we know that that is the brands that reached out to him, not like he went out there
Right.
and seek to say, let me
Right.
do
He didn't
this.
say, "Oh, but and mind you, if he had and they had rejected him, then that would have been a whole different
Let's
thing
start. Yeah,
too. So
yeah,
that is something good to point out that he didn't go seeking out
yeah.
them because quite honestly, I'm sure there are a lot of brands who understand that that's a small margin of people that wouldn't want to use that, you know,
Well,
that
you said it when we were watching the TV just a while ago. It's so weird that when with Bud Light, it's like like the seltzer
right.
and something that don't drink beer and
Right.
all that
So
stuff.
it wasn't even ideal for them to seek out a transgender person for that particular type of product. If anything that Bud Light or the Budweiser company has to offer, maybe Bud Seltzer, like we
Yeah,
saw in that commercial.
yeah.
And I say this not trying to be stereotypical, but just because it is more of a um the culture behind it, they advertise it to be more suited for
With fruits and
more of a
light.
younger,
Yeah, that's true.
just brand. It's just a different brand.
Hmm.
Bud Light, Budweiser. My uncle, I grew up seeing my uncles drink this beer. This is
Hmm.
this is not a beer that is identified with anyone in the LGBTQ community. And I guess that's what they thought they were gonna do, was just make it let's stretch our um view of where this beer would appeal to, who this beer would appeal to.
Yeah,
And it definitely failed
flat.
famously.
Yes, we'll
you
talk. Like
know
I said, we'll talk about all that in that situation because again, it's just like I said before. It's like you would also go hear from the person who's the VP of marketing. That came up with this idea, and it's like, really, really, really. But we'll get to that in a situation in a second. So I want to keep those together, and I'm seeing the comments already coming through. So like I said, we'll check out the comments, guys. Again, wherever you at, Facebook, YouTube, Temper FM, anything. Like I said, I'll read you the comments as fast as if I don't want to. I'll read through them as best as I can. I ain't gonna read through all because it's just I know there's stuff coming in. But anyway, let's get to the like I said, I want to talk about what first thing first, which is basically like I said. So this is one of the things. Like I said, I was never, oh, I was never on Twitter. Okay, I know Project Woman was supposed to be on Twitter. Shout out to Anderson. He was supposed to keep a check on it, but I never went on Twitter because of certain things. I know Project Woman was supposed to be on Twitter. Oh Lord. Okay.
keep going.
So yeah, so I didn't have that set up in that regard. But Elon Musk took over Twitter. Doesn't mean I'm gonna still get on Twitter. Not really. It's a company. They do what they gotta do. I have nothing against that. So I want to play a little bit of this because this is how crazy things have gotten. And I want Mark Dice said this. I'll let you say it first. And I know when he did that. Elon Musk said it's a different type of smart. That's the best way I could say. He's a different type of smart. He puts like I said, he might be aware the way he's thinking, but everything he says is not smart because because he came out saying that we could spend it takes $13 trillion. We could spend we could save by running everything electric and that stuff again. I mean, you talked about that a little bit ago, and if you watch my show, I've talked specifically about and a lot about how I think we need to have multiple instead of just one thing. Everybody's looking for the golden bullet, the silver bullet that does everything. We need gas, we need electricity, we need propane, we need all that stuff. Bio, diesel, I don't care, but we need that because I think, and a person said this, and I forgot a person, when we run out of really gas to cars and stuff, oh, you ain't gonna see a war like you ain't gonna see. More people gonna be fighting like crazy.
That's true. I mean, when you look at the reaction of when gas pumps get depleted of gas, just in a few regions of the United States, it can get kind of dicey. So
yes,
yeah.
So I'm just saying that. And again, right now, a lot of the third world countries. It's funny because a lot of the globalist people who was like, oh yeah, we should all do this and then. And tonight's show, if you want, I'm gonna tell you this: the main theme of this show tonight, literally, the main theme is the people who have the power, your top governors, your powerful celebrities, your powerful businesses, and everything like that. They are doing everything they can, but they want to make a world. They think that you should do this for the better of the world, while we do nothing, and you will see it. You will see it.
Yeah.
Like we are basically contradicting ourselves, doing stuff. That's what we're gonna do. You'll see it really, but they like an example, like a Nancy Pelosi. She's in a house, big house. She don't care about the in her own district, all the drug dealers, all the drug fiends, everything on the street.
Right.
But she would be like, oh, we need to give more money to this, and this, but she don't do that in her own district.
Right.
That's an example. All these corporations, like we said, Budlight, they're so mistuned to do that. Or Nike, you do it, and we will talk about it in a little bit. You giving Dylan a sports bra. The man don't have no breasts. Why? Why he's promoting something? Tampon gave it. That one was different. They gave it to him. He didn't search for that one.
Right.
Why are you giving a tampon to a biological male? And I am not misgendering or nothing. We're doing it just for the craziness of YouTube. I know how YouTube works. Look, if you actually do all the stuff like that, then I'll call you what it is. If you ain't do it, I'm calling you what you really are. I'm sorry. In my opinion, you're still a male no matter what. But like I said.
Oh, what's the phrase that what is the phrase? I went to the DMV. What did they say?
I said Decepticon, but anyway. Transformer and Decepticon.
No, it was assigned where they use that language too.
Where you assigned
the gender you were assigned with and things like that. So everybody's trying to be politically correct, of course.
Yeah. And right now in London, they're trying to pass a law in Great Britain, trying to pass a law to say since everybody's getting crazy with all the words, cis this and all that stuff, they're trying to get like biological men and biological women.
That's it.
That's what they're trying to do. So you can like I said, say anything else you want. That because
at the end of the day, irregardless of what you change on your body, there are some things that if something happens medically, they're going to need to know.
Yeah. Yes, and I say that, and again, it's kind of crazy. I'm gonna show up to the hospital. Oh, I have a miscarriage, and ma'am, like,
right.
And I don't tell you the person. I don't think the person would ever want to pay the bill for that. They're gonna say it, but when they see $1,000 bill, like, do I have to pay that? Well, you said this. They would never want to do that. No. They won't. They're just saying it. So, in that regard, that's
a whole nother tangent.
We'll get into that, but let's get into the other topic right here with Elon Musk, like I said, with Twitter. I need to talk about this just a little bit. So let's get into the camera here. All right, and hopefully you should be hearing this loud and clear, my lovely wife.
With these tight ear.
Earbuds. Yeah, I got you. Well, yeah, you ready?
I'm good.
All right.
Musk gave a hilarious interview to the BBC, the British broadcast.
Sure.
Corporation, which I'll show you in just a moment. I can't even believe that they aired it. Maybe it was live and somebody just recorded it, but
I don't think it live. I think he knows that how journalists will switch stuff. So he knows, yeah. Now I'm not playing that.
This isn't his first rodeo, so
correct. She's
so
correct.
I would side with that too.
And again, it's not all the races. The man's African American. Okay.
South African American.
Okay.
Simulcasting it over Twitter Spaces, which is Twitter's sort of group conferencing call app. So we would have got audio of it regardless, but we do have the video. It all started when Elon decided to add the government-funded tag, to be more accurate, to the accounts of NPR, National Public Radio, because, well, it is government funded. And they got very upset about that. They quit Twitter in protest. That's how upset they are, because that's the same tag that Twitter added to the accounts from Russia government-affiliated media outlets last year under the previous ownership, like this RT account, which clearly shows that it is Russia state-affiliated media. So NPR got upset that they're now in the same category of government-funded, state-run media. NPR's own website says that federal funding is essential to public radio's service to the American public, and its continuation is critical for both stations and program producers.
So if you just said that, does that not mean that you're funded by the government?
Yes. It means exactly that.
It's
so
exactly what the guy said, yeah.
If we played this kind of psychological little breadcrumb game, why did they react the way that they react? Why were they upset by that?
Because
label?
because they want to be a certain way. They're trying to say.
I mean, when I first hear NPR, that's the first thing I think of is government. That's just this. I'm like, y'all were trying to make that a secret. I thought it was just well known.
Remember, it was created by Congress too, so it's just like you can't get no more than that. You were created by Congress. A Congress act of Congress was NPR created. But anyway,
including NPR, they say.
And also, I'm not against it because I'm listening. You've listened to me listen to the shows and stuff. So it's like, hey,
we've listened to things that are.
My thing is always listen to everything. There's not one thing, but I'm not against it. I know what it is. Let's go with it, whatever. But anyway.
Say because of the label, NPR is quitting Twitter across all our 50-plus accounts. Our executives say the government-funded media label calls into question our editorial independence and undermines our credibility. What credibility? Some wonder if this will cause a chain reaction among news organizations. Oh no, what would we do if CNN and the Washington Post were to quit Twitter too? So Elon added the same tag to the account for the BBC because, well, it is government-funded, government-run. So a self-proclaimed reporter showed up to Twitter headquarters. I'm not sure if Elon actually invited him, but he sat down with him for an interview to talk about all things Twitter.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Because I haven't heard.
That's what I'm saying. She has a blind reaction to some of this.
I just read some of the
but you're going to see this really. It's just going to be weird. Anyway, let's go.
Of course, the clown expressed concerns for tweets that he hates, also known as hate speech.
Content you don't like or hateful? What do you mean to describe a hateful thing?
Yeah, I mean, just content that will solicit a reaction, something that may include something that is slightly racist or slightly sexist, those kinds of things.
So
you mean facts about crime in a certain demographic?
I like how he told him to define a hateful thing. Because the thing is now people are setting you up to respond to their questions with a completely different definition than what it actually is.
Yes.
Or what you think it is.
Yeah. That's what it is.
Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying anything. I'm
just curious. I'm trying to understand what you mean by hateful content, and I'm asking for specific examples. And you just said that if something is slightly sexist, that's hateful content. Does that mean that it should?
I think he means stating facts, like all women should know how to cook.
That's hateful.
You're wrong, Mark. You're wrong, Mark. But he's being that.
Content. Does that mean that it should be banned?
Well, you've asked me whether my feed, whether it's got less or more. I'd say it's got slightly more.
That's why I'm asking for examples. Can you name one example?
I honestly don't use. Honestly, I
You
don't.
can't name a single example.
I'll tell you why. Because I don't actually use that for you feed anymore. Because I just don't particularly like it.
But you
And
said
actually,
you-
a lot of people are quite similar. I only
Well,
look at
hang on
my
a second.
following.
You said you've seen
following.
more hateful content, but you can't name a single example, not even one.
I'm not sure I've used that feed for the last 3 or 4 weeks, and
Well, then how did you see the hateful content?
Because I've been using Twitter since you've taken it over for the last 6 months.
Okay, so then you must have at some point seen your hateful content. I'm asking for one example.
Right.
And you can't give a single one.
And I'm saying
Then I say, sir, that you don't know what you're talking about.
First of all, who's interviewing who?
That's what I'm saying. It's supposed to be him.
And is he trying to literally like spar him down based off of the label situation? Was
Basically,
that his,
yeah.
That's his MO, is
Yeah,
to say,
yeah.
hey, you're putting hateful content up by labeling these sites of being what they are, government funded. Oh Lord.
But and he's a journalist.
Allegedly.
Well, you're right about that. I didn't say journalists from nowadays.
That's a very loose term nowadays.
Yes. You're correct, my dear. You're right. You're right about that. But anyway, it's just too
Really?
funny.
Yes, because you can't give me a single example of hateful content, not even one tweet, and yet you claimed that the hateful content was high.
well,
That's a false.
no. What I
You
claimed,
just lied.
What I claim was there are many
Yeah,
organizations that
take off the
say
skin
that
and
that
laugh
kind
too
of
much.
information is on the rise. Now, whether it has on my
So first he saw it in his own feed with his own eyes, but then he shifts gears and claims that he
yeah.
just heard from other
backpedals.
people that's supposedly everywhere.
My
on
Give
my
me one
feed or
example.
not. I mean, right, and
Literally
if you
can't
look at
name
something
one.
like the Strategic Dialogue Institute in the
This is
UK,
so silly.
they will say that.
And mind you, regardless of what you think of Elon Musk, he's a very successful person. He's, he's definitely left his mark in history for
Yeah.
sure.
Yes, that's true.
This man is doing this guy a favor to even take the time to even sit down and talk with him. Like, I'm
Now you see what he said. He had to record it in a way because they would have never let that go if it was just straight BBC.
True.
They would have never let that video out.
That is very true.
But go ahead.
Cause I mean, I'm like, he has nothing. Elon Musk, he doesn't need to give them a time of date or whatever. I guess because he feels like,
Yep.
because I mean, he's got a lot of heat with Twitter and how he's run it. I was not surprised because there's an agenda politically, and if you're not with that agenda, you can try to be as neutral as possible. But if you're not with them, they see you as opposing. So
Yeah.
with this journalist,
Yes.
he's trying to come at him from that angle of you got this high content of hatefulness on Twitter feeds and hateful content and
Just
and
give him an example.
literally just give examples. That's a very, very clear
Simple.
cut thing that you can provide proof of. And it's like, really, dude, he can be building another car right now. Like,
Just saying, yeah.
Look, people will say all sorts of nonsense. I'm literally asking for a
Right.
single example, and you can't name one.
Right, and as I've already said, I don't use that feed. But
Well, then how would you know that?
I don't think this is getting anywhere.
You literally said
I
you
would
experienced
agree.
more hateful content, and then couldn't name a single example.
Right, and as I said,
That's absurd.
I haven't actually looked at that feed.
Then how would you know there's hateful content?
Because I'm saying that's what I saw a few weeks ago. I can't give you an exact example. Let's move on. We
it's
have
like
Dylan Mulvaney
literally
outside.
like watching a train about to wreck. Because it's like this interview right here, but like you said, this is him recording this. There is no way BBC would just say, oh, and let's show this interview with Elon Musk, this little sit down here.
Mhm.
They would never. Because it just shows them in the poorest of light. I mean, it's
They would
pretty
not.
incompetent, actually. It's,
Exactly. That's what it will be. It will show in the worst content. But there you go. There you have it. So that's just a little step into this because again, I want to make sure I'll get to the other stuff, which is going to be a little longer. So I don't want to make this
Yes.
long. So yes, but you see
we've
that.
got
and
an
you see-
itinerary
Yeah,
tonight,
so-
folks.
So we got that. So in that screening, I want to talk about. Let me see before we get into that because I want to make sure I got the stuff because that right there is gonna be. Whew, I know I'm gonna make you not cool in it, but we're gonna show the hypocrisy of a lot of stuff. So okay, I want to make sure. Okay, all right. Let's get into the whole Bud Light stuff now. Let's get into that. So again, I don't, and I'm gonna tell you this right now for a person. Okay, I will tell you this right now. I'll put back on the screen. Look, Gillette, you found out your way. My wife could contest this. I don't use no Gillette products. I used to use Gillette razors and Fusion and stuff, but after that stupid stunt you pulled a couple years ago, I'm not doing that. Just ain't.
Yeah.
If you don't want my money, that's all cool. Now I never used to drink Bud Light, but again, it's kind of stupid to, I don't know, hurt your brand.
Right.
That's just idiotic to me.
I mean, that's just with any brand. You're part of what makes you success, and part of doing your homework is to know where your target, market is, and know who your consumers are. So clearly, I would think that they would know who their consumers are and who's buying their product. So to take that approach, it was just bad. It was just a bad business move. Like, what else can you say? It was just a poor choice, regardless of what side you are as far as the trans community and how you feel about that. It's just a poor business move. Like,
yeah,
I couldn't.
I would say you took a brand and try to change it and force it. That's why, like I said, just like no, I can't say no. I'm not using that. Just like when Hershey did the whole thing with the her and she, just to like, why?
Well, was that for? Wasn't that for? Well, that was for like, what is it? Women's history.
Yeah, and the guy who did it, and the commercial was the dude.
That's true.
That's what it was
that.
again.
There's literally some things that I just keep the peace in my soul. I just push out of my mind because it's always something. You just click on pull up your phone.
Yeah, but you know what? Something. Here's the thing. I do not care. Here's the thing, like I said, if somebody could come in and take over that space, I said, let them take over the space. So let's listen to this one a little bit right here. Again, this is women just talking about the situation.
There, we are in the fight of all fights. You chose a little boy with no breasts and some junk in his pants to represent real women.
I'm done. I say this as a woman. I am offended by Nike because somehow they have no appreciation for what a sports bra, the company that's making the sports bras, is actually supposed to do. A sports bra, you see, is meant to help somebody with these body parts. You understand how totally insane this is getting and how insulting it's getting. I mean, Nike is totally dumping on women, and we as women should vote with our dollars. No more Nike clothes, no more Nike tennis skirts for me, no more Nike shoes for me.
Stop giving money to woke corporations that hate our values.
So you hearing what that is. So I want to play this right here because this guy took that and make it into beer. So respectfully, he called it, or it's kind of weird, he called it ultra right beer, but hey, it is what it is.
Well, he hit that on the nose, didn't he?
Well, yeah, because remember, when they did a Gillette, they make Jeremy Borden's razors. And then now they made her, he, she, and she. They made a chocolate out of that too. You making your own, what do you call it again? I ain't gonna say contender because that's
you're creating your own contender. You're inspiring you're fueling your own contender.
But your own opposition.
Yeah.
For the money that you have, because again, everybody has a finite amount of money to use and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And if you're just telling them we don't need you.
Right. I mean, when you're talking about, let's push Bud Light aside because anybody can literally, drink beer, what have you.
Correct.
When you're talking about literally female wear, sports bras, things that are literally designed for a woman, and then you turn around and you have someone marketed who's not born a woman, that is a direct insult. I don't
Yes.
care however you
Yes.
slice that pie. It just is.
And that's the part I kill because these are the same people who say women are strong, women are fierce, women are this, but then you got
Correct.
a guy.
Well, that goes
That's
into
that's the-
later in how the feminist movement has kind of kicked themselves a bit because they piggybacked off of that movement to what we have now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep, and we will get into that conversation as well. So, but I want to play like I did with the Jamie Bourne razors and all that stuff. Let's listen to not a bad commercial. Why not listen to it?
America's been drinking beer from a company that doesn't even know which restroom to use. That's why I created Conservative Dad's Ultra Right 100% woke-free beer. As conservatives, we're constantly getting hit in the face, left and right, by the woke mind virus. But the last place we want it is in our beer. If you know which bathroom to use, you know what beer you should be drinking. Stop giving money to woke corporations that hate our values. And to the rest of you woke corporations, stay the away from our kids.
That last part, I agree with that part.
Oh, yeah. Now, just to play devil's advocate,
yeah.
someone with a different position will look at this and think this is totally over the top, completely offensive, simple-minded, even hateful content, what have you. But the reality is, we live in a culture, we live in a society where you have females being assaulted because they said they don't think it's right for trans athletes, for men to be competing in a female sport, and they're getting assaulted. And you got people left and right getting canceled, getting drugged on social media for just saying anything.
And let's not forget about, remember the situation I brought up in 2 years ago when we had elections up in Virginia, when that boy pretended to be a girl and fatally raped 2 girls.
Yes.
That's also that dangerous.
That should have went completely viral.
It did went viral.
It should still be talked about now.
Got you.
I mean, we live a state below that situation.
Yeah.
So we should be seeing, if that had been 15 years ago, that would have been an explosion.
Yes.
But now it's like, oh gosh, it would have been like that would have been our COVID virus for something like that had to happen to a child in a public school.
Yeah.
But yes, so yeah, you could watch that video and feel a certain way about it, but the reality is people have taken such an extreme approach to, oh, we need for you to drink this Kool-Aid or else you're canceled. So him having the freedom of speech that he does, he took that approach. Yeah. And I wish him success. I wish him success, and he will get his support from people who probably don't even like beer. They would just be like, "Oh, okay, I support that." And go from there.
That's the part that it needs to be understood. But people they don't talk about it. But like I said,
silent on social media after Dylan Mulvaney's controversy. Another story comes out talking about Bud Light suffers bloodbath as longtime and loyal consumers revolt against transgender campaign. Let me read this story. Bud Light has faced backlash.
And I want to say this again just to make sure we're clear. It's funny. Dylan Mulvaney did not went to these people and say, I'm going to be your brand ambassador or nothing.
Right.
They did this. So there's a company. This has got nothing to do with Dylan itself other than he's the wrong person at the spot. But this is the companies that try to subvert all the reality and change it to be whatever it is, because they're the ones that did it. So again, I think in here we do have a video from the VP. Yes. So we could hear what she thought why she did this.
The top-selling beer brand in the U.S. has suffered a nationwide backlash from consumers after it.
Top-selling beer brand, you did something that stupid.
Literally, the phrase "if it ain't broke, don't fix it" couldn't have fit more better with this. I mean,
the other phrase that we use lately: "go woke, go broke."
Oh yeah, I retract. That one is that literally is that is it. That is it in a nutshell.
Our transgender TikTok star Dylan Mulvaney has its new spokesperson, according to bar owners and beer industry experts around the country. Jeff Fitter, owner of Case and Bucks, a restaurant and sports bar in Barnhart, Missouri, said in Bud Light's effort to be inclusive, they excluded almost everybody else, including their traditional audience. Sales of Anheuser-Busch bottled products have reportedly dropped 30%. That is insane over the week. While draft beer plummeted 50%, according to bar owners. 80% of Bud Light drinkers ordered something else this week at Braintree Brewhouse in Massachusetts, a sprawling sports bar just outside of Boston. One pub in Hell's Kitchen, a New York City neighborhood known for its large and vocal gay community, reported that Bud Light draft sales dropped 58%.
What?
In the
Wow.
gay community, while Bud Light bottle sales were down 70%. So what do you think about this whole thing that's going on with Bud Light?
Here's my holding a can of
You could go. This is basically valuetainment, but I just want to get to what the lady was saying, because again, we're basically showing the commentary, and me and my wife doing it. But anyway,
Such a good point. By the way, this is the girl he was talking about. This is the VP of marketing. You have to listen to what she says. Watch this here.
Yeah, go ahead.
I had a really clear job to do when I took over Bud Light,
Rainbows in the
and
back.
it was this brand is in decline. It's been in decline for a really long time.
but it
And
said
if
it was
we
a.
do
But,
not attract.
but it just said it's the top selling brand. So I don't know what she. Again, I'm not there, but I just like the contradiction. That's all.
Well,
I'm saying.
it's a flat out lie that she's setting herself up as to why she made such a poor decision.
Young drinkers to come and drink this brand, there will be no future for Bud Light. So I had this super clear mandate. It's like we need to avoid.
The thing with Bud Light, and this is just me. The more I talk, man, I'm like, maybe I should go into marketing, babe. I mean, I grew up in a rural area. I'm from North Carolina. I've lived here all my life. Bud Light has never been the type of beer that is gonna appeal to your, I don't know, Californians who eat spinach wraps or things like that. They're a certain type of brand that is gonna go with, so it's like,
that's funny.
what do you mean it's in decline? It's one of those type of brands that's like, it's been here for, it's like an American brand. It's like, it's been here for a minute.
Yeah.
It's just the
Like I
test
say,
of
it was an
time.
American brand a couple years ago. It got sold to Germany.
It's got its, it's got its platform, its format, it's got its people. I mean, so that was sabotage if there ever was
when you
one.
look at Anheuser, who owns all like Bud Light and Budweiser, there are so many different types of beer in there. So it's like you choose. The choose you choose is so weird.
Right.
You could have choose like you said again. You could have choose the hard seltzer or something, but you choose that. That's weird.
Yeah.
And again, we don't drink beer. We're just saying it's just kind of weird how they're doing this stuff.
This is the most I've ever talked about beer.
Got you. Let's listen again with her.
Evolve and
Super
elevate
clear.
this incredibly iconic brand.
Anyone
and
misses that rainbow
what I
paint?
No,
brought
of course,
to that
that's their
was a belief in, okay, what does evolve and elevate mean? It means inclusivity. It means shifting the tone. It means having a campaign that's truly inclusive and feels lighter. And
selling more
brighter,
beer to
different,
frat boys.
That's
what
Basically,
what she said.
And again, this always came with because these are the words, the specific words like the use inclusivity and all that stuff. Look, you're not gonna get everybody.
You're not. And the thing is,
that's a bad weird way to sell a product.
Exactly, to try to use someone who represents such a small margin. But something that came to my mind. In the U.S., I don't know other parts of the world, there has been like a very hot, just soaring trend of like local neighborhood beer crafts, that have just been
like we did one, which is a craft store that we went to a while ago.
When you see a brand like this fail to market and go with their target audience, I think it's gonna just be a surplus. Like it's gonna be like a positive jolt to some of these smaller companies who really connect with their consumers and people who are just literally gonna protest their dollars to, well, I'm just gonna support more of my local beer, beer crafters and things like that too.
Yeah.
I think that's gonna and on that, and like they said, that's gonna really hit the decline sales of Bud Light for sure. I'd love to see by the end of the year where their numbers are.
Well, we'll see. I mean, we still humans and we're still Americans, and our attention span is not the greatest.
It's not, but again, the
I think
people who buy that beer.
Yeah. I agree with you saying. I get what you're saying. The fury
I mean, we saw Kid Rock.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be stereotypical, but a lot of people who buy that beer have the type of feeling about that commercial that he does. So that's why I'm like, they really missed the mark.
There's a video that they did with a joke. I think I don't know what it is, but the guy's like, "Oh man, I'm gonna get him a beer," and he reached inside the fridge, and he's like, "Oh, I want to get a beer. Oh, I'm gonna do something else. What the heck? I'm gonna do something else." He like put it back.
Yeah.
And representation is at sort of the heart of evolution. You've got to see people who
You're overthinking it. That's overthinking it.
For beer.
Reflect you in the work. And we had this hangover. I mean, Bud Light had been kind of a brand of fratty, kind of out of touch humor.
That made you billions.
It was.
Thank you.
Well, what she's doing is
it made you money.
She's thinking she's describing, she wants us to think she's describing the brand. What she's actually describing in her mind are the consumers who buy that beer.
Yeah.
Out of touch people, fratty. That's how she views the people who buy that beer. So she's really trying to say, hey, I want this beer to be cool. I want it to appeal to the trans community and the LGBTQ community and all of that. And it's like, regardless of what you think of that community, that's not a beer that's not a product that would appeal to them.
Nope. That's what it is.
There are thousands of things out there that could be marketed for different communities of people, and that wasn't it.
That was not it, for sure.
Good job.
We had another approach. So I'm a businesswoman.
By the way, if you can pause this, here's what's crazy. Can you Google the profile of a beer drinker?
And we know the answer to that, so it's not even a chance. But that's what it is. I'm just giving that. Like my wife just said, it's crazy that it's what will make you think that's what we. And I like what he just said with Google what it, because you just basically silently diss your own people who watch who drinks the beer, like you just said, and that is true. But again, is when I hear a lot of these corporations, I was all inclusive. We're going all like, you're not gonna get all that. So again, tampon. I got a question. We're gonna make it inclusive. We're gonna involve men. We don't have periods. We don't have cycles. It's kind of stupid to sell it to us.
That's literally their agenda.
Yeah, that's what I'm just saying. It's just stupid. Because why
that's offensive. I say that as a woman, born a woman, assigned as a woman. Goodness gracious.
Oh, goodness. Yeah. So before we get to some other people say stuff, I want to get into. I want to play this little bit of. No, I'll play this before in front of that, because that'll be a better shot in my mind. But I want to show this right here a little bit. I'm not showing the whole thing. Stephen Crowder, you can go back and watch it. I want to show you because my wife never really seen it. But my point is, again, these are left lead. Again, I always say this. There's right wing and there's leftists. Leftists are the crazy, crazy wing. I have no problem with the Democrats or Republicans. I'm mostly libertarian, so I don't really care. But I call extreme and extreme. So this is the point where the leftists be saying about, hey, we don't like guns. We don't like this. We don't. Let's just look at this craziness, and then, like I said, we'll get into the other stuff that most of what I wanted my wife to really react to. This is just crazy.
This is the Drag the Kids to Pride event. Organizers promoted it as a family-friendly drag show.
It's glitter, it's fun, and it's a show. It's all for a great cause. It's a G-rated drag show.
Coming out of the closet. It's a G-rated drag show.
So my question, because I am very, very not familiar with drag queen shows.
I
remember when I can remember when I first saw what was the channel that RuPaul promotes or is behind
VH1, but I know you're talking about
logo or something.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Anywho, and I remember seeing commercials of drag queen shows, and I was like, okay. So I'm in my mind, I'm trying to equivalent. Is it supposed to be compared to like beauty pageants, but for
you'll see
drag queens?
Yeah, but it's no, and I don't think transgender. I think it's
because the thing with beauty pageants, and then this is what I'm doing. I'm comparing it to that because they get up and they dress up in costumes and they have on their different attires and they get scored based off of different looks that they wear, different costumes that they wear. But with a beauty pageant, and regardless of where your view is concerned, because beauty people have different views on that as well, there is supposed to be some like structure to it, to the platform of it, and some substance to it, and things like that. And they certainly, even with a beauty pageant, they don't have kids up with them.
I just think it's just like how we say porn and all that stuff. I think it's just sadism, just literally.
Well, yeah, that's a subliminal message. It's not just like, oh, let's make this a family-friendly drag show. Okay, you want to have your drag show, have your drag show, but why are the kids there? So what relevance does this have for children?
Yeah.
Are they learning their ABCs?
They
and
want
or...
They want to get again. If you're a show, you want to get a bigger audience, so you could do more money. It's all about
the exploitation of children, regardless of how you feel about the trans community. It should be a issue for everyone, and it's not. And the problem is because people have become some people, some extremists have become so committed to wanting them to feel included and to not feel rejected that you're willing to sacrifice the innocence of children. Yeah. But yet, if you were to take a different demographic of people, we don't have a problem with that. Let's take R. Kelly, for example. He certainly had his day in court, and I feel rightfully so. I feel like he was guilty, and he deserves that punishment. But this was a man who has taken advantage and done sexual inappropriate things with underage women. And we see that and understand that as being wrong. But yet people celebrate this, and this is allowed, and no one's in an uproar, and there is no police investigations as to why there are children at events where there are people who are showing themselves in a sexual light, and they don't see that as being wrong. I mean, it makes me think of when Michael Jackson, and I'll say this, God rest his soul, because I had my views on Michael Jackson. I feel like he was a little out there at times, but yet parents sent their children to his house. They sent them to his house. And yet to this day, you have people who have still ran his name down and tarnished his name, and they feel that he was a child predator or molester or whatever. But yet that was, you don't have, it's very much a he say, she say type of situation. You take a situation like this, where we are literally watching video footage of children in these type of atmospheres, and nobody's saying anything.
And again, it's corporations and the media and all that stuff doing this. What she's talking about. Yeah, you got a problem. So I'll show what I'm talking about, because you're gonna see like I said, you have that. And you're gonna see on the little girl's face. You can see on the little girl's face when he asks this question, she's gonna be like, "What?" She's gonna be like, you're gonna see it. You're gonna see it right now.
It means when you tell everybody that you're gay, it's something that gay people have to do.
See her face? You see her face? She's right. Like,
because what a lot of people or parents are saying is that we're not trying to make a stance on being gay is good or bad. We just want you to stop trying to over sexualize our children.
Basically.
Why are you having this conversation with a 5 or 6 year old. Period. Why?
And this is Good Morning America that I'm playing right now. This is that. Michael Strahan again. I would have never. I'll be like, no.
No, I've got my views.
I'm not doing this today.
I like him in a lot of arenas, but when it comes to some of the more
I don't agree with you, my brother.
No,
I don't.
Yeah, he's drunk a little Kool-Aid.
Youngest and first drag queen / kids.
And remember, this kid was in a strip club, which is supposed to be 18 and older, but he was on the stage stripping in front of men. Really? That was what it was supposed to be set up for? Little men. And they had men up there giving this kid, money.
Oh, no, son of a bitch!
Craziness. But look at the kid.
To a world where drag kids actually exist.
And people do ketamine on a couch.
And they all go marching
Blue's Clues.
the big parade.
Blue's Clues. That's Blue's Clues. A show I watch with my little sister. We love the puppy and stuff. They all put that in there.
That hurts my heart.
What's that?
I was talking to the owner's wife, and she said explicitly that there are children in there. They've given everybody a wristband for under 21 and over 21.
Drag shows that brand themselves as child-friendly or all ages welcome have been popping up across the country, from Palm Springs to Dallas. So we all know.
See what it is? What is it for?
Yeah.
See what it is?
Yeah.
Money.
Follow the money trail.
It was only a matter of time before one showed up in suburbia, USA, and that's exactly what happened this past weekend in Roanoke, Texas. Newly opened Anderson Distillery and Grill decided to get in on this underage action and host their own child-friendly, that's the key word here, child-friendly drag.
I mean, that's the biggest alarming flag right there.
Child friendly.
Because when they started marketing for children, like regardless of what your stance is, how you feel, that being marketed to children is toxic.
Yes. Yes.
That should be an issue for everyone.
It is.
Show on Sunday, August 28th. Of course, this raised some concerns online, especially in the conservative-minded Roanoke, closed-minded Cretans. So the owner took to Facebook in advance to assure everyone that the drag...
Here he says, no foul language, no sexual content, no erotic behaviors. Performance will be fully clothed, music will not contain explicit lyrics. Okay? That's what it said.
Drag performances would be positively PG, John Hughes-esque. Now, of course, while I had absolutely zero reason to not believe this drag show would be PG as advertised, as a reputable journalistic outfit, I wanted to make sure that I and my team was doing all of our due diligence. So I sent them out undercover as specialists to get the not-so-skinny on the drag show and see exactly how kid-friendly it was. My team's findings were, well, just watch.
How are y'all doing? How's it going?
Doing all right.
Oh, it's gonna be a busy day.
You guys got your own personal security.
Yeah, they do.
Surprisingly, the first thing that greeted my team outside of the distillery, child-friendly distillery.
As he said, these are the same people who say you should not have guns. Wow, those
are pretty heavy-duty military-grade guns.
Thank you.
And this was in Roanoke?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yes, we don't believe in guns, but look at all these big guns.
That alone, before we've been looking inside and seeing what is happening, that is a powerful statement in itself.
Yes.
I don't care what flag you have. If I'm riding down the street and I see a bunch of guys covered in all black and got military guns, I'm pausing. I'm like, what's happening? What's going on?
But again, these are the guns. But they say you should not have guns.
Right.
They say you should not have guns.
Right.
No, you should not have guns, but these do.
Yeah.
That was hosting the drag show was the overabundance of strapped to the gills Black Bloc and Antifa members surrounding
said establishment. Nothing says child-friendly like people decked out in tactical gear and pride flags.
Right.
I can guarantee you half of those people don't even know how to use them damn guns. They just use it as a scare tactic. Because some of these kids, these young kids you see, they don't know how to use them.
That's true.
Because remember the black version of this that happened in Georgia? The guy jammed the gun and shot his own people. There was a bunch of black people who did it. I did a video about that. I was like, yeah, you should know how to use the weapon, bruh.
Yeah, it's a reason why they're tailored to the military, because there's training that has to go behind a gun, period, and in particular.
And here's the thing, as we said before, I have a problem if you want to get a license. Most states now are saying that we don't need that. I still say, hey, take care of it. Make sure we know these people use the guns. 'Cause I don't want innocent people get killed, whatever.
Well, that's what guns are supposed to be for, to protect and defend. When they,
Yeah,
but
that's another tangent.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But my team needn't worry. FBI Director Christopher Wray assured us that Antifa is not a group. It's nothing more than an ideology.
We look at Antifa as more of an ideology or a movement than an organization.
Those guys look organized to me.
Pretty real to me.
We're not trying to start anything. We just want to see what's going on, what brought you out. So it seems that we're not being welcomed into here. We're not trying to start stuff.
Say, that seems like a pretty organized ideology. After all, though, it's hard to believe that 30 individuals showed up to the same event dressed in the same clothes and all following the exact same blueprint. Only thing missing is the gay gang signs.
Okay, well, you're free to protest as America, so please continue to do so. I cannot get a response from anybody. I don't know, we're just trying to talk to people, but it seems that none of them want to talk.
I don't see you guys' channel or anything like.
You can look at here, I'll give you the website.
What is it?
untblogs.art.blog.
Wait,
Yeah.
blogs.art.blog?
Yes.
Oh, there we go.
There you go. All right. Now, in the spirit of balance, I would be remiss if I didn't point out the counter-protesters, who also looked extremely intimidating.
What's going on here?
Over there. She needs to go over there.
Get this, yeah.
She needs to go on their side.
I know the police were having
What are the rules with the protest, just so we're clear on everything? I mean,
just everybody stay on their side, and so far it's been good. As long as they stay there, that's fine.
Are those actual weapons that have strapped on?
They look real. It's legal to have.
It is Texas.
Yeah. The only time we've had issues today is when people migrate over to one side. So.
Or the opposing side.
Yeah.
So
you see again, and it's in Texas, but again, they have no problem getting their guns though.
Right.
But try to get your gun, and you can't have that.
he's basically saying just every side needs to stay on their side. I know that's probably not actually what the legality of the Constitution says, but it probably makes the most sense for what's going on. So
yeah, they don't want
we have some people trying to start stuff. The cops rolled through, the cops rolled out. I don't know. We'll be here. Let's hope nothing pops off too much.
I went over there to talk to somebody I knew, right? And all of a sudden, I get like 7 or 8 of them come up to me. 7 or 8 of them come up to me. Get off here! Get out! Get off this property!
Every day we should wake up and say, how can we make our country better? But my whole thought process is, let me have freedom of my speech too. If somebody wants to change my ways, I'll listen to anybody. But you know what? Show me the respect to listen to my opinion. This is, okay, you know what? I don't have a problem with it, but all this is right here, they're just trying to get a TikTok view.
Because I've been praying to a God of miracles, and it takes a miracle to change a heart.
Your people are crazy. Y'all want to kill us all. So, no, you do. You do.
All I can do is pray.
What did you come out to do?
To talk to people. I hope you. All right. Yep.
Get the out of here.
Very kid friendly. I just thinking the same thing. This looks so kid friendly.
Right, kids?
I can't wait to have children and take them to some.
I don't.
Both our parents would wring our necks.
I don't think we'll ever do that.
We wouldn't ever. But I'm just saying.
Yes.
You can't abandon all morals and logic when it comes to anybody, especially your own children, people.
Got to.
Here before we you up. Do it.
What are they cheering for?
I don't know.
Cheering for the drag queen.
How do you even? Well, at least it was just water.
Yeah, it's just water. It's fine. It's fine. What brings y'all out here today?
Support our people.
Who's your people? We don't know.
Q+.
Okay. What is happening in here? Why are there Antifa? I assume Antifa protesters with guns and anti-protest counter protesters over there. Why?
So it's a drag show, right? And the man who owns this distillery, his son is a drag queen.
Okay. You want to be gay? You want to drag queen? Go for it. You're not hurt. But
well, thank her for shedding light on that.
Adults, but don't involve a little 8-year-old girl. That you tell Susie, who's 11, Susie, you need a double mastectomy because you really want to be a boy. Susie doesn't know if she wants to be a boy or not yet.
Exactly.
Puberty blockers.
Probably didn't know what you wanted to eat for breakfast.
Right.
What we are hearing from over there is the child angle. They're saying this is a sexualization of minors, opening up children to things that they should not be seeing.
I think they just don't know the full story because this is not about children. This is not about opening their eyes to this and making them see this.
Child, how is that when children are in the building seeing the debauchery?
Right. I mean, well, my thing is if this is okay, then that whole label that they gave moms who put their kids in the pageants and stuff, stage moms, stuff,
yeah,
they should be fine now. I mean,
I know you're talking about pageant kids.
Yeah, when they feel like they try to say that, oh, you're exploiting your children and stuff like that.
And like she said too, I am not cool with that either. Right. You're over sexualizing little girls to be.
But when you go from that to this, you see how things have just shifted. Like
both are wrong.
Yeah.
Both are wrong. I don't want to over sexualize no kid.
No.
None.
It's about support for his family. And his
really? Is that really what's happening inside, though?
And I teach middle school, so like it's important for my kids to know, like, no, I love you, because tomorrow you love him, and then you love her, and you're gonna love a tree the next day.
Exactly. She's right.
Yep. How old are your kids? Like
11 and 8.
Oh my God.
I fought in the Army for 23 years, 60 points, so that y'all can do what you do and I can do, but don't involve children is all I'm saying. Just keep the children out of it.
Are there children in there?
I haven't been in there. Okay. I do not think so. If there are, they're with their families, and they're just enjoying a great time.
Oh.
Yeah. Come on. It's G-rated. It says G-rated. This is G-rated.
This is nothing but stripper connotation.
Thank
this
you.
is completely promoting and sexualizing the stripperness culture. How you want to say it.
Clearly.
And look at this. She doesn't even want to go.
Yeah.
So
This
is where parents fail.
Yeah.
Their children. You hear me?
Oh no. We got many ways they fail, but this is one of them. They went in ways they fail.
It's fun for the whole family. Approved for all ages.
So are there children inside?
Yeah, there's 3 or 4 of them. But these girls are all fully clothed. Okay. This is a PG performance. Like it's
I like how they just lie straight to people's faces. It's PG. That's PG. That was PG. Okay.
Family friendly.
You could barely do anything in PG cartoons and PG movies.
See, this is the problem with sin, is that when you I'm just gonna get on my little tangent. When you dabble in it like that, you have to continue to make an excuse for it.
Yeah.
It's just PG. If a child dressed like that, just walking on the side of the street somewhere, unfortunately, we know evilness can just be rampant anywhere, but that could be just like a little flashlight for someone to try to come to them and attack them and do something wrong to them. So you're saying, but you're saying that that's not sexual
deviancy,
in that setting.
Well, it's funny too. If a grown man walked down the street like this and do this in front of children, they would put him in jail.
Exactly.
They would put him in jail.
Exactly.
But this right here, no, that's not that.
Well, I mean, I think it's just a lifestyle.
Well, crap. It's almost as if sexualization is the entire goal. Again,
Exactly.
Good, wholesome, family-friendly fun. Here's what Nida, Montana tweeted out just 2 days after the event.
The town had their complaints. There were some people that were very angry.
it's one of those things that, you know, and most of these people don't live here.
A lot of the businesses here are owned by the people in Trophy Club, but
there you go.
I mean, it's always been conservative because of that.
Like they were telling us earlier, this is the first show of the kind that's like that here.
It says keep Roanoke gay. I didn't know Roanoke, a city, could be gay. I'm sorry, that's an inanimate object.
Look at that strip club. Just more clothes and more deviancy.
Right.
They say when you're 18, do what you want,
know.
but they're saying if you're under 18, they shouldn't be here. What?
I don't know. In my opinion, I don't think it's weird, but I guess people can have their opinions. But it's just like kind of disrespectful.
I like how they look at that.
Scream at people.
What they're saying is that there's children in here, and this is exposing children to sexual content, and that should not be happening.
Nothing sexual happening in here.
Okay, that's not that.
And they're literally,
money.
got money in their hands.
That's stripper. That's sexual to me.
What's the difference between that and a children's beauty pageant? That's actually sexualizing children.
And we agree. Both are wrong.
See, if you think that that's sexualizing children, then what you guys are doing is really over the top.
Exactly.
I'm not exactly sure you'd want to make that comparison. But
Right.
do as you will.
Did anybody ever watch Mrs. Doubtfire and enjoy that? Did anybody ever watch? There's tons of things on the TV. It's not.
This is like a comedy show, like that.
No, I'm not.
I'm so
God
glad we grew up in the era we
God
grew up
respect
in. 'Cause
Robert Williams.
It's a tough time.
And the moral of that story was that he wanted to do anything to be with his kids. It's not this craziness that y'all trying to put it, Mrs. Doubtfire. What?
I mean, even if...
Because remember, wait, I gotta say, remember last year, they had a first romantic gay com, and it failed horribly. Flopped horribly because nobody wanted to see that. You guys said there's all these people for it. Why don't you go out and watch it? Oh, you didn't. Ah. Okay, and what was the DVD sales? Because again, you can say, okay, we don't want to go out there because it's that we don't want to get hurt and other people's hate of other people. Okay, well, like I said, like my wife knows, I would love to watch the Mario Brothers movie because I support it, and she knows that I'm
surprised he hasn't gotten there yet. But he says he's trying to wait for all the little kiddies to
let them enjoy it. Let them enjoy
get
it.
to the movies
I
first.
grew up with it and everything, but here's the thing too, I would buy the DVD too. Just like we watch, it's very important to us because of what the significance of it is. But we watched, I forgot what it was again, Top Gun.
Yes.
The Top Gun Maverick, and she didn't just bought the regular DVD set.
I got the collectors. I got the whole Cadillac.
Yeah. So I will support.
Version.
Yeah, so like I said, so I'll support stuff no matter what in that regard. So. If that's the case, then wouldn't they support the DVD sales too?
You would think, but the thing is, it goes back to my whole stance before. Maybe they are, maybe they're not, but the margin of people who are generally behind that is just not as great as the announcing in the microphone element of it. But
I got you. So I'll leave it at that. This is on Steven Crowder. Go look at it. Look at this kid-friendly. That's not a kid-friendly show. You've seen it. It's not a kid-friendly show. We just show that. I want to talk about, these are people in our state of North Carolina, our lieutenant governor, and also a pastor who's become famous many times. Mm-hmm. So let's go with the pastor before we go to a lieutenant governor and talk about this.
Have in my hand is
pornography.
Things that they are showing for kids 10 and up in this book. It would be a disrespect to this house and to you for me to open the pages and let you see the images that are in here. The things, it's not soft. It's hardcore. The only thing that's different is it's drawn in cartoon style, and the people performing this acts are children. They are coming after our children, and you can't afford to be ignorant.
No.
They show sex with men, women with women, endorse transgenderism with all the explicit drawings, showing kids in positions that I wouldn't even describe to this audience because it's designed to shatter, to destroy innocence.
Yes.
It ain't just politics with them. They are dead serious. They want to corrupt every child. Father, we pray against this. Hitler went after children. Herod went after children. Pharaoh went after children. Nebuchadnezzar went after the children. God, protect our children. In the name of Jesus.
There you go, Pastor.
The innocence of
there
our
you go,
sons
Bishop.
and our daughters. God, we come against this. We block this. We bind this. And we ask God our strength to help us. Oh, God. I don't care whether you're a Democrat, or Republican, or independent. This is against us all.
Yeah.
And this is the kind of stuff that our lieutenant governor was wailing about. And when people called him an idiot and they called him crazy, turns out he was right.
Right.
Father, we pray against this. In Jesus'
We're gonna talk
Well, I know what I'll be posting on Facebook tomorrow.
Okay. I know we're talking about the lieutenant governor next. You just talked about it. I'll just go ahead and play.
Transgender movement in this country, if that is demonic and that is full of
That's our lieutenant governor.
It is the transgender movement. 2 genders. You can go to the doctor and get cut up. You can go down to the dress shop and get made up. You can go down there and get drugged up. But at the end of the day, you were just a drugged up, dressed up, made up, cut up, man or woman. It's time for grown-ups and time for Christians to start standing up and being unafraid to tell the truth. They're dragging our kids down into the pit of hell, trying to teach them that mess in our schools. That ain't got no place at no school.
Exactly.
2 + 2 don't equal transgender. It equals 4. We need to get back to teaching them how to read instead of teaching them how to go to hell.
Again, that's why I voted for that man. I ain't gonna lie with you.
So I have to say this as a black woman and a black North Carolinian woman.
Mm-hmm.
I am proud. And I'm proud to hear both of those black men say that, because I know we have a lot of viewers that are listening from other parts of the world and different ethnicities and nationalities. I can say this for myself. I have seen growing up in black churches and around black communities, a lot of people, not all, have felt like throughout the decades that the left side has had their back more so with the civil rights movement. And what you have seen with a lot of minorities, particularly blacks, is that they have become compliant or supportive of the transgender and LGBTQ community and identifying it with the same civil rights issues that people of color have had. And that's not correct. And as a Christian, we are called to love everyone. This is a sickness. That person is not the enemy. The enemy is the enemy. So what you see is that people have become very passive, and now it's time to wake up, because that's an extreme thing to have books like that in the school that your children are exposed to. People can feel like, oh, people are just over the top. They just want shock want to just to be dramatic or whatever. That is an extreme thing, and as people of influence and leaders, they are in the right to feel that strongly about schools exposing children to things like that, and that being fine and that being okay.
Okay, so what she said right there, it goes into what we were talking about when we was walking. I brought this up many times. I'm gonna bring it up again. Stalin called people useful idiots because you could break them down. He said the best way to do this, and also I forgot the other one. That's from Russia too. Stalin, and if I can remember. Okay, he's one of those revolutionary mind thinkers in Russia that the leftists go with. They said, break down the family and you will get people. And the reason they say use the idiots because he get more soldiers, we get more ground people. There's been lots of people who figure out, and Sister Sherzad Ali said this as well too back in the time. I don't have her video, but I played it before and showed it. When she was like, remember, just after slavery, even though it was bad and all this stuff, and remember, people don't want to give the credit to what it is, but I ain't got to talk about political party. But here's the thing: just after slavery, right, black women had a better marriage rate than any other race in this country, America. They had some evil things going on. I'm not excusing those because how slavery and everything was, but as a percentage, black men and women were married together because they know we better stick together to make it through all this craziness.
Right. That was a strong understanding of the unit of family and relying on each other.
Yeah, that's that. So when the woman suffrage, and we'll get to it, but I'm just giving an example here, comes up. Remember, the first millionaire woman was a black woman. I've done documentaries I showed you about her and everything.
Madam C.J. Walker.
Yep. And when the certain white women needed the ground crew to build their army,
right?
They told, hey, black women, forget your black man. And Sherzad Ali said, but the black men were never owners, the whole 9 yards. They were like, why we should be worried about that? And she said, that made black women at those times throw their black men away and go with that, even though they were oppressed by the white man.
Right.
But the white woman at that time wanted that situation to be set up like that.
Yeah.
So, okay.
They were pawns.
Yes. So now you're gonna see what I'm saying here in the video. Yeah, I know it happens, but you're gonna see what happened. You're gonna see in the video what we're gonna say, which is, and again, you'll see how they subvert, they manipulate, and they change things.
Right.
So before we go, I want to do one more thing before we go into the popular cosmopolitan and them and how they always do stuff. Let me do one more video for y'all. And I again, that's why I say I have no problem against Dylan Mulvaney per se. I don't like that he's pretending to be a woman. But again, that's his call. But I think this woman said it right here, and I think it's right. And I want your idea about it. I think it's an act. And this is what she's saying.
Tired of seeing Dylan Mulvaney's face plastered on absolutely everything, especially affiliated with women and him representing women. But we still gotta talk about this because there is so much going on top of just representing a crap ton of brands recently because everybody just suddenly wants to work with him. I think that Dylan Mulvaney may possibly have been planted into the entertainment space by the elites. We have Hollywood elites, all that kind of stuff who are running everything, and the corruption involved in all of that and all kinds of stuff that's going on in Hollywood that we probably have no idea about. That is just terrible and probably unspeakable and unthinkable. Okay?
Yeah.
And because Satan, we really are in a battle of spiritual warfare, and Satan is involved in that. And what this seems like to me is that the powers that be, the elites in society, the hidden people who are running everything, the puppeteers, I think it's very possible that they found this guy who is an actor, who's trying to be an actor, and wasn't ever able to accomplish what he wanted to do. And it is possible that they could have planted him in this space. And that is one reason why he's getting brand deal after brand deal after brand deal after brand deal to be a spokesperson, because they're all tied to that anyway.
Yeah.
They have the connections with that. They planted him and they made all this happen. That's very possible. The fact that he was at the White House and it had an interview with the President of the United States, that's what makes me think this is very possible.
Right. Because that's a very
Call me
quick
crazy.
rise
And,
to
yeah, I'm not saying it's a fact,
success.
but
To just be
it's very possible.
a social media,
But even that,
you know.
Yeah, that's true. And shout out to Trip. I just see him. Yes, Karl Marx. That's the guy I was thinking, the thinker.
Oh,
Marxism.
yes, Marxism.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
And his story is really amazing. You get the true raw story of him, not the Vladimir Lenin and him, the high marks of like when people like looking up to these guys like super thinkers, because they came at the end of their life, they came reality thinker. They had to like, yeah, we were wrong in certain things, and human nature is human nature. But they tried to. There are people out there who try to think we should go against our nature, which is the transgender and all this other stuff in there. But again, just listen to it, because again, I like what she's saying here, and that's why I say it's an ops. I think so too.
Yeah, it's not far-fetched at all. I mean, there's a lot of groups, not just trans, who will use someone to be that figure for them,
Yeah.
that. So it's not far-fetched. Now,
Yeah,
when you
because-
get into people who are on the woke train, so to speak, that are bringing him in to promote the agenda, yeah, because I think that is, I mean, when you think about the White House, even though the White House don't look like what it used to look like, you would usually feel like you had reached some level of achievement to go there, and it's like, well, what has he done? So I feel like she could be very valid in what she's saying, for sure.
Yeah. Again, you can use it again, because again, look at the music. Like I've said before, I brought this up on the podcast before. Remember, Beyonce, single ladies, single ladies, single ladies. But now she married, and her husband cheated on her. Did she leave them?
Right.
Nope.
So yeah.
Cardi B. Oh, I'm independent. I don't cook. I don't clean. Offspring shows the video of her cooking and cleaning.
So
and then don't forget that. Wait.
yeah.
I was saying, don't forget that one video when her daughter walked in. She turned off her own music. Her own music she turned off. Not anybody else's music. She's there talking about, I'm gonna get that wop, blah 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 blah. Daughter walked in. She turned that off. Her own music, so her daughter don't hear it.
Right. So it shows you that many of these figures that some people quite frankly idolize and worship, they promote something, but yet they don't even live that themselves.
Yeah. In their own home, no.
Right.
And we're going to talk about that too again, because you heard the clip.
Yes.
That's how crazy it is. I just saw a little bit of, the Houston Astros had Megan Thee Stallion throw the first pitch. Do you think she went out there and just throw the first pitch? No. She went out there, turned around real quick, because she's showing her booty. She's sexualizing herself. And then she's, jiggling, going to the mound. And I'm like, why are you people? Why? And then you're going to say, but they look as sexual figures. You present yourself as that. I always had this problem from young, and I mean this from young, when women used to say this to me, and I was like, you got to be kidding me on this situation. It's like, you're, as Dave Chappelle says, you're over sexualizing me. You're sexualizing me. You're doing, he was. The Dave Chappelle joke was like, you have your breast up to here. You got a turtleneck, and the breast is out. And he's like, and you walk around like, look at him, look at his breasts. Just because I dress this way doesn't mean that I'm a
right.
I'm
I
like,
want you to comment on it.
I'm like, you're correct. But you are wearing a horse uniform. That's what he said in the joke, that's what it is. Because Dave Chappelle flipped it. It's like, officer, it's like me, the comedian, walking out with an officer, and he's like, officer, come here, help us. Just because I wear this uniform does not mean I'm an officer.
That's a very good point, as he's famous for doing, taking a joke and making it a learning.
Yeah.
lesson.
So that part, right? Like, you can't call, because remember when Megan Thee Stallion was on She-Hulk, what were they doing? Twerking on She-Hulk. Why? I don't get it. See, you sexualizing yourself.
Really
you said men objectify you. I'm like, but you're the one who's doing the moves.
Yeah.
You're dressing. I can't objectify you if you. It's crazy. But I got you.
Yeah.
So let me just listen a little bit more before we get into the one topic I know you want to talk, and I'm gonna call it a night. And I don't want to stay up late, like I said. But yeah. But you gain how I do these shows. Now you see how I do these shows, and it gets that way.
We've covered a lot of stuff.
Yes. Well, I like it to be how it's all on one umbrella.
That said, I still feel like this is worth talking about for multiple reasons, which I will go over in the video here. But just for the uninformed, Dylan Mulvaney is a dude who cosplays as a woman, essentially, basically saying it's day 365 or however many now. Yeah, this okay. I don't even know what else to add to that. Let's just this
is Nike.
Home from day 365 and ready to take on the world. Okay, so he just gets to wake up one day and decide that, hey, I'm a woman, and document and make videos saying day 1 of being a woman, day 2 of being a woman, day 3 of being a woman, and now we're past day 365. And then, as you can see, he just does this performative act that
exactly
no woman acts like this. So yeah, I have a lot of opinions on this kind of stuff. I think ultimately this falls more on the brands than him. That's
what it is.
Because he found a loophole and he's profiting on it. And
right.
I know a lot of people are taking out their frustrations on Dylan himself. And I get it because it's annoying. But if Dylan were to step down or if Dylan were not to do this, it would just be another dude.
Yeah.
That's
so true.
Yeah. That's why I say this.
This whole transgender ideology, this transgender movement and activism and all of that is erasing women, pushing women out of the way. I guess he said in this tweet, well, I guess us ladies can just go back to the kitchen then, since men cosplaying as us have taken over everywhere else. It's funny because I'm feeling like wow, do we actually need feminism right now? But where are they? Where are they with this? I know some are speaking out, but a lot are not.
Right.
But it's just like feminism has taken things so far, and honestly, I do think that this is a result of feminism in a lot of ways.
That's exactly what I said.
We're pushing for this and accepting this and so on and so forth. But now people are opening their eyes and seeing things for what they are. And whenever you start celebrating this kind of stuff, right? That's when we start to have big issues. And that's when things like this start to happen, or things like that start to happen, which I'll go over here in a second.
We ain't gonna do that, but
anyway, he got a lot of backlash for this, and he made a video. Okay, Ollie London reported on this, saying Dylan Mulvaney responds to backlash over his recent brand partnership with Nike, women, and Bud Light. In a TikTok video, Dylan pretends to cry and act upset, claiming there's a lot going on. All right, let's just see what it says. Okay, it's 37 seconds. Let's watch it.
Hi, how are you? I haven't been making as many videos. There's been a lot going on.
Yeah, you haven't had to make that many videos because you already are making bank now.
You're making
with
bank.
All of these
exactly.
brands that you're working with. You don't need to make videos. You got money now.
And I was feeling a little down today, but I was walking on the sidewalk in New York, and this garbage truck drives by me, and the garbage man leans out of the truck and goes, "Hello, Dylan." And I went, "Hello." It was the most unexpected person, and it gave me the courage to keep going. And I love you. And if you're that man that's watching this right now, you really made my day. And I especially love you. Okay. Hi.
So I'm going to say this, and I have said it before in the show. There's just going to be some people who hate anyone for being different or feels empowered to bully or to make someone else feel bad, but they're different. But I think the majority of people have a lack of understanding, and then also they see a level of brokenness and true mental health issues. And that's what I see when I look at him. I see someone who's hurting, and I see someone who,
if it's not an act.
If it's not an act, you're right.
Because what she's saying, it makes sense too.
Well, even if it is an act, you can still be hurting because you take it on
True.
a lot to be getting all that coming at you.
True.
And what it is that you get pumped up and you get so influenced by all of these people saying, oh yeah, do this and do that to your body. And then you're the one left holding the bag when everything in your body is haywire, your hormones are out of whack, and your depression is sky high, and you are literally physically dealing with the after effects of doing what you've done on top of the thousands of dollars. That's another thing too that people have to remember. There are many doctors who are happy to take on patients who want to go through transition because that is money for a very long time.
Yeah.
So it's so much exploitation that they're opening themselves up to. And and it's a sad thing to watch.
It is. All right. Let's get to the last piece of the show, which is the part that I wanted my wife to listen to. She listened to this one piece, which I'll play just for a factor, but I'll say this too. Again, I understand where feminism came from, and you will hear in the story why it got big as it is when it was that, and I understand it. And the first, I have no problem have equal rights and equal opportunities, all right? But let's be honest, it's as she just said, it's gone beyond that. Now we're in third and fourth rate feminists. It's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs up there, because they wanted soldiers to keep on doing whatever it is, and I just don't like it at all. My thing is, again, you create more of these ground people. You don't care what the ground soldiers do. They're the ruts. They're the grunts. They're whatever.
Right.
As long as I'm up as a general, up on a high horse or up whatever, and I can do what I want, I don't care what they do at the bottom.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of psychological warfare. They're going to divide us as much as it is. Divide men and women, divide the kids from the family, divide, we got, look at Democrat, Republican, we got leftists and right wing. Trying to divide young and old. They're trying to divide black, white, green, the colors, of course.
Yes.
That's why I always state with my show, I said again, I don't care what color you are, I don't care what race you are, whatever. If you're a good, decent person, you're not doing any moral evils, I have no problem with that.
Absolutely. You do yourself a disservice for just cutting yourself off from not interacting and not engaging with anybody just solely that doesn't look like yours, not in your community of influence or what have you. I mean, good gracious, some of the closest people that I have in my life that mean the most to me look nothing like me. So that is 100% true.
Yeah.
We stand with that.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about the story of Cosmopolitan, which in this story, again, remember, when I just want to set this up a little bit. World War II happened. Remember, a lot of men went over to stop the fighting World War II. So a lot of the women had to take up factory jobs because that. And then when they came back, remember, a lot of these
that's where
tycoon
the little posters came from.
But here's the thing. A lot of these tycoon businessmen figured out, wait, we just have ourselves a new pool of workers, and we don't have to pay them that much. So that's where women came in and started working more than usual. And then they're trying to get more cheaper labor no matter what. The same thing they did with black people when they got free from slaves. They did the exact same thing.
Yeah.
It's no different. They did it with more the black men at the time because men would want to work, the women stayed home.
Right.
But they did the exact same thing. Oh, we got a pool of people.
Exploiting.
So let's exploit them because we can work whatever. So I'm not saying businesses don't have a nasty hand in this messed up democracy we have right now, which really is just, like I said, it's a republic. But anyway, so.
Capitalist.
It's capitalism. But again, I'm not against it. It's just, like I said, but you got to understand how people is. So you want to hear the lady's story, and I made it into a feminist, and I agree with it. I understand where she's coming from. So I just wanted to point that out there. I want to give you back so you know when she says it, it's just not hits you like bam. Okay? All right. But this is Cosmopolitan. This is what Cosmopolitan was, the lady who created Cosmopolitan to make it popular. She was making up lies and stories to get this salacious stuff. And they were putting up these kind of stories in the book for the young women to catch on to these stuff. So here's the story, and then listen to what she would not do in her own family.
This story appeared in an article entitled "One Man Is Not Enough." Okay? All right, here's the beginning of it. She had been living for a definition of feminine nature that was doing her an injustice.
Say that again. Wait, read that sentence again for me.
Had been living for a definition of feminine nature that was doing her an injustice. Okay?
Uh-huh.
Locking herself into a monogamous relationship, she was with a married man. She was more often than not left with no man at all. The elusive fellow in question did plan to marry her as soon as he could work his wife around to getting a divorce. So is Cosmo's advice not to sleep with married men? No. Cosmo's advice is to sleep not with one married man, but with several. So in her best-selling book, Sex and the Single Girl, here's what Helen wrote. It seems to me the solution is not to rule out married men, but to keep them as pets. While they are using you to varnish their egos, you use them to add spice to your life.
Oh,
I say them advisedly. One married man is dangerous. A potpourri can be fun. So there you go.
I have a question for you. How did
So you hear that craziness, right? And again, you heard the clip, but now the person who took Cosmopolitan, hear how her lifestyle was.
you, I guess, rectify her message and the fact that didn't you say she was married for like 50 years to one man?
Yes, she was. In fact, she said that she was married to David Brown, who was a very famous producer at the time. He was a producer of Jaws and Driving Miss Daisy. She said if David ever had an affair, she'd kill him.
There you go.
You go out and destroy your life, whatever. My husband,
I mean, first of all, here's the sad reality is that for a lot of people listening and a lot of women, you look at stuff like that and you see it as the hogwash that it is, and you're not as easily influenced, and you understand the value of marriage and the sacredness of it. But unfortunately, there are a lot of people who are looking to drink a particular cup of Kool-Aid and are just subjected to the most ignorant information. But the bigger reality to that is that this was some ignorant information that the writer herself didn't go by. She's just giving it over to this person to destroy their life and mess up their future.
This is not a writer. This is the VP of
The VP themselves.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it just shows you that these people who are in these prestigious positions, you look at their lives and you're like, oh, well, if that's what they're dishing out, then that must be what they're living by. No, it's not.
No. So this is the last video tonight, and this is basically, you're going to see the lady you just heard. This is her story now. You're gonna see her, and this is her her full story. Now, the video you saw is a more lengthy. You get more deeper into it, but this is the 13-minute situation of it. So let's go through this, and we call it a night after that. After spending 2 decades writing for Cosmopolitan, she admitted everything she wrote. She admitted everything she wrote about the sexual revolution was based on fake news and lies.
Oh, Lord.
Now living a simple life in Wyoming, she exposes the feminist propaganda. Sue Ellen Browder is coming clean. Underreported, you know, that's the company, the channel I'm using. But listen.
How do we get to the point where so many young women today think to be free is to go to college, get a great degree, have a fantastic job, and be as sexually free as possible? How did those get joined together? Well, that was the question that people began to ask me after I had left Cosmo, and I began to investigate it. You have to understand a bit about how propaganda works. Propaganda isn't just a bunch of lies. People think, oh, propaganda, I can spot it in a minute because it's just a bunch of lies. No, propaganda is a very sophisticated, it's half-truth, selected truth, and truth out of context is used not to sell just products, it's also used to sell ideas. The feminist movement and the sexual revolution were two radically different movements. The feminist movement was fighting for equal opportunity for women in education and the workforce. The sexual revolution was fighting for all sorts of sexual freedoms.
See what that thing says?
Right.
Lesbians fight for freedom.
But if you fast forward to now, which I'm sure she's getting to, and like I was saying before with the blacks and civil rights, everything has to come under the same umbrella. We all have to fight to be equal to no.
And which again
Yes,
is again, we're 30% of the population. There's 1% of the population. There's less than 1% of the population that are actual trans and everything, and they got more speaking voices than us.
Right. And that there is something for everybody to sit back and think about.
Cosmo, we pretended that this sexual revolution was a freedom for women. It actually was not. It was actually kind of a slavery. But we pretended it was freedom for women. And over time, as the sexual revolution and the women's movement got identified closer and closer together, a lot of women began to buy into that illusion.
Abortion is freedom, see?
I wrote for Cosmo for about 20 years. I came out of J School, University of Missouri School of Journalism. I was trained very well to be a good reporter, and then I immediately fell from grace and started writing lies for Cosmopolitan magazine.
Wow.
I was fascinated with Cosmo, and I was fascinated with glamour and sophistication. And I always said I didn't want to be a big fish in a small pond. I wanted to be a small fish in a big pond. And Cosmo was, to me, was that big pond, and I was the little fish. Helen Gurley Brown was the editor of Cosmo. She's the one that took Cosmo.
That's the lady you just heard. She
okay.
said, if Richard ever cheated, I'd kill him.
Gotcha.
And turned it from a general interest magazine into a sex rag.
It's a magazine to help this young woman realize dreams, hopes, ambitions, to help her find a man, keep a man, get him back if he's going, get a new one if he left.
But you know the irony with that? It sounds very anti-feminism. It's a very contradictoriness to it. Oh, I want you to be free, but yeah, I want you to find out how to keep a man, keep him satisfied, and if he leaves you, so which one is it?
In 1970s, 80s, she says Helen Brown gave her and others a rule book on how to make, she talked about it in the other video too, how to make details in the articles and columns. She still has the original rule book to this day.
Ellen Browder had created a list of rules on how to write for Cosmo, and some of those rules included how to make up stories. So here's one of them. Unless you are a recognized authority on a subject, profound statements must be attributed to somebody appropriate, even if the writer has to invent the authority. Here's another one. Try to locate some of the buildings, restaurants, nightclubs, parks, streets, as well as entire case histories in cities other than New York, even if you deliberately have to plant them elsewhere. Most writers live in New York. 92% of our readers do not.
Hence the propaganda.
They had a book. They would go in and have a meeting of all the editors once a week, and they'd all bring in ideas, and then they'd put them in the book. The freelance writers would come in and choose the stories that they wanted to do. These did not come out of reality. These came out of the heads of the editors who said, oh, that would be an interesting story. And that's how you got assignments.
Prior to writing for Cosmo, Sue wrote a small daily news for Los Angeles. Her experience led her to the identity of federalism.
I had married my husband in college, and right after college, we went to Los Angeles, and I worked for a newspaper out there. Almost immediately after I got this job, I ended up pregnant.
And this is why I said this story of before, and I could see why it happened. So now you hear the back end why I preempted it.
See, I was very delighted with it. The newspaper was not so delighted with it. And at that time, you were fired for being pregnant. And they told me I could only work 5 months into my pregnancy, and then I had to quit. That did turn me into a feminist. Then I found out, of course, there were other things that women were being discriminated against in those days. Now, this was 1969. A married woman could not apply for credit in her own name. There were help wanted ads, help wanted male and help wanted female. Women couldn't go to law school or medical schools in many cases. So there was a lot of discrimination going on, and that is why so many women of my generation identified with the feminist movement.
Right. I mean, I would in that era, I would identify myself as a feminist.
No, I
would definitely need my own credit card.
Shut up. But I got what you're saying there too. Prior to the sexual revolution, abortion wasn't a part of the movement.
She and a number of women had gotten together.
Because remember, abortion was I forgot the name of the dang woman. I always got her name.
The Roe versus Wade.
No, before that.
Oh.
I forgot the one that Hillary Clinton said is her help her, her hero. I forgot her name, but she was back. She was the one who did it because she think black people. She thought that black people was weeds on the planet.
Yes.
That's what abortion was at the beginning. She wanted to kill more black babies and everything because she didn't want them to grow up. And she was a racist, a big old racist. I don't want to say the name out wrong because, like I said, I had a name on the top of my head.
Her? No.
No, that is not her. That's not the name. Is not come up with that. But I know it is because I have a video that's literally I could play right now because it's set up on my phone. It's set up on my queue.
Yeah.
But she's the one who did it, so that she was saying that it's not the same. And again, this is why I said the corporations figured out, hey, we get more workers, we could do stuff in that regard.
National Organization for Women. Again, they were fighting for equal opportunity for women in education and the workforce. It's very well documented that the abortion movement was originally a man's movement, an upper middle class white man's movement. But there was a man, and there were actually two men, who were fighting to get abortion legalized in America. These two men knew Betty Friedan very well. And they worked very hard to try to convince her to insert abortion in the women's movement's political Bill of Rights.
First one nation gathered in Washington, D.C. for the Bill of Rights and the last minute freedom inside abortion. Out of the 150, only 105 feminists.
The media were not in that room that night. That was a closed-door meeting. Then Betty Friedan, the next Monday, she has a press conference, and she tells them that she's speaking for all American women everywhere. And the Washington Post bought it. They headlined the abortion vote. They said essentially, all women want this. And that is how propaganda works. The feminists who bought into the abortion notion of my generation, well, think about it. They wanted to keep their jobs, but should women today really, in this climate, really have to choose between their job or their child? It's outrageous. Why was I pro-choice for years? Partly because I was going to be fired for being pregnant. I thought that was my only choice.
Right.
And that I'm going to pause, but that you see that, and I could see, I understand it.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why I gave the
Yes.
preemptive for it.
Yes.
That's why I gave that a preemptive for it. At the age of 27, she became pregnant with her third child. Instead of moving forward with a pregnancy, she had an abortion.
When you start betraying the truth, it will come back to haunt you. It will get you in the end. And that's why, even though I knew we were making up all these stories, I still got sucked in and thought abortion would be okay. Well, it wasn't okay.
3 decades later after abortion, Sue converted to Catholicism. Sought help from the church to heal her.
My husband wanted to join the Catholic Church, and I said, I'm not going to join that patriarchal old church. And
you hear the words that we hear, that we get gurgitated back?
Yeah.
then I read the Catechism. This was not the nasty old Catholic Church I'd heard about. This was about joy and freedom and love and beauty and forgiveness and all of the things. I went to the priest. I was terrified. My knees were shaking going into that confessional because I was going to tell him about that abortion. And I did. And he was just so wonderful. And he said, go home and think about how much God loves you.
Wow.
So I did.
I'm happy she had that experience with getting into the church.
Yeah.
I mean, she's really sharing a testimony. Really.
That's what it is.
I want to hear the rest.
Got to you. All right, sorry.
It was the most beautiful thing, and I was healed from it.
So she stopped in 1994.
Why all of this hijacking of the women's movement? Money. Money. Why was Cosmo so successful? Because it attracted advertisers. Why did it attract advertisers? Because it worked. When a young woman, an insecure young woman, reads these magazines and thinks that she has to have perfume, cosmetics, hair products, beautiful clothes, singles travel.
I mean, most of
abortions,
magazines now consist of ads more than the content.
Yep.
For that reason.
Yep. And the woman that I forgot the name is Margaret Sanger. That's the woman.
The trip helped you out with that?
Huh? No, I looked it up. But so, I remember the name perfectly, but I just can't. I was like, it's one of those things when you at the tip of the tongue. I just can't, I just needed that. But yeah. But going to what you said, yeah, you're right. Yes.
When she thinks she has to have all of these things, she's going to spend a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
What these magazines are doing, and what now the internet and everywhere, turning a woman into a commodity.
70% of consumerism in America is women.
Yep.
Got this picture of herself on herself. It's all about me. If you can convince a woman that everything is about her, then she has to buy a whole bunch of stuff to make herself so wonderful. If inside she knows who she is, she doesn't need all that stuff. Now there's the other side of it. I say we're all liberated. Are we? So on one hand, yes, we can go to college, we can get a degree, we can be doctors, lawyers, engineers, we can do all this stuff, we can make all this money. But how liberated are we if our girls have got that in their pocket?
I want to learn more about her.
So you want a longer interview, which you would talk about this stuff?
Well, yeah. I mean, she's in a very unique position because she was really there at the platform, the laying down of such a iconic magazine that really became like it was like it pretty much led the culture of this, like she said, is sexual liberatedness, like without like Cosmopolitan laid down like Sex in the City, and they took the blueprint from stuff like that, you know, in the way that you have Instagram models and stuff on TV, on social medias and stuff.
You're so right.
That really played a huge part into that, and for her to have seen that light, and I'm glad for her that her marriage survived that, you know, because that movement wasn't kind to a lot of marriages. No. Because like you said, it was really out. It wasn't there to bring in. They wanted fairness.
Remember, we wanted more
fairly.
Workers.
Exactly.
We wanted more as she just said, more people to buy our stuff. It's all about the money. That's what it is. That's what it was. It always leads back to the money in most cases.
Or they can even think.
She's correct. Subverted.
Oh, I might do a
People
book club
think
with this.
that we've got mothers who want to stay at home and feminists who want to work. No, the real battle in our nation is between feminists who are for abortion and feminists who know the difference and are against it. There is such a thing as pro-life feminism, and that in fact, pro-life feminism is the authentic feminism of the 21st century. Obviously, I don't want to take more credit than I deserve for all this evil. but I think that I was certainly part of the evil empire, if you will. And what I would like for it to come out is for young women today to tell them the truth so they could see how my generation got it wrong, why we got it wrong, and how they can do better, how your generation can do better.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're telling you, on the one hand, be yourself. On the other hand, they're saying, you're not good enough the way you are. Buy all this stuff to be beautiful.
Yep.
Why aren't you beautiful just the way you are? Here's the perfume. Oh yeah, you stink too.
My husband is bubbling over right now because I know he's going, and this is what I tell you every day, dear.
I say.
Oh, by the way, your hands don't look very nice either, and your hair color is wrong. Oh, and
Eat some ice cream.
When you're tired of hearing about that, have some ice cream and a little booze to go with it, because then you'll be too fat, and then we'll have to put you on a diet.
There you go. Evil's behind it, and let me just put it so you can see it. That's her book, Subverted. Hijack the movement.
And if you take nothing else from that, it's just how she broke down propaganda. And that is such a true and real effect it has on
Ayn Rand is
everyone.
another person who brought down propaganda as well too. Ayn Rand did like I said, there's a video where she talks about how to make a political movement, and it is crazy. She said we're gonna get it down to like, oh, I'm a black woman, I'm a black man black man with one finger that hate this but like that, and like she get it out to a group, and we can make you powerful. Like Ayn Rand did a video about that. I gotta see if I can do that video and let my wife see it, and then we maybe do talk about it as well too.
Yeah.
That is crazy. It's a short video, but she was correct. Iran was correct. Iran was correct as well too. And this is another one that I gotta give it to her. She talked about it, and there's the one that you saw before from Susan Venker. This is the longer episode. It's 55 minutes. She talks about the whole thing more. So check that out in that regard. So again, I want to thank everybody out there for joining us tonight. You see what we are talking about. Even though I have to, as you see too, I have to play down the Mario music as well too. Go Mario, winning all the box offices right now, supporting, beating, doing all the stuff. Disney, sorry, but that's what it is, and we'll go see it.
I didn't even notice that was Mario music until you pointed it out.
Yeah.
That's how much of a fan he is.
Yes.
He's a loyalist.
I'm a loyalist.
Well, thank you for having me on the show, babe.
No problem. And it's a good topic, and you got a female perspective on some of the stuff, because we were talking about female things and how, as the lady said, which is the best object for it, subverted. We subverted the truth and talk about a lot of stuff. And this is where a lot of my points comes from when I talk about blacks and the votes and time of soul and everything. The past, where a lot of people know these things were happening, but they don't want to talk about it, and they just got caught up into it. Sister Sherazade Ali, everybody don't like that lady, but what she said back in the 70s, she came to be correct.
It's playing out.
She called it out, and it happened. Judge Joe Brown now, people don't like him, but again, he saw it right there, like you just said.
Right.
That lady right there calls it out, what she saw, and she did it. And again, I'm not knocking her for that, because again, I understand what she fell into, because I have to kill my baby to work. That's a horrible choice, a very horrible choice. And again, the billionaires and the guys back in those times were like, well, we got a new pool of workers.
Right.
So that's what it is. But thank you, my dear, for joining me. And again, I want you to join many more. But again, I apologize to you guys up there for that. We started more. If I gotta do, I gotta do earlier. I gotta do it earlier.
I mean, I feel like I did pretty good. I didn't
did.
yawn too much.
Yes. But I can see you do it, so you're ready to go to sleep.
Yes.
So with that said, guys, remember again, evil comes in all shapes, size, color, creed, height, sex, nationality, genders, weight sizes. It make no difference. Evil's evil. My thing is always, as you saw how they do stuff with family, take care of yourself, take care of your family, take care of your neighbors, take care of your community. That's the best way it is, because top down, that stuff don't work that well, and they want to get in your business too much, as we saw how they want to get in, basically they get in there to split everybody up. That's what it is.
Yeah, they want to divide.
Yes. And last but not least, of course, remember again, links are down in the description, you guys. Thank you. You can check out any place where you go to watch it. You will go to YouLive, YouNow, Stitcher, Anchor, Spotify, Facebook, Twitch TV, and many more. All right. And again, I am working on the website, so it could be a one-shop place. So you could go there as well too and see stuff and everything. So with that said, again, I hope you guys have a good night. Take care of yourselves, and remember, people are stupid, individuals smart. Be that smart individual.
Bye, guys.
Catch y'all next time. Peace out.